Hi all and welcome to this episode of Life for Tri's Beginner's Guide to Triathlon. Today we're going to concentrate on the swim, and it's probably the one discipline that we get a lot of questions about with regards to it being the weakest discipline or people starting from the lowest point. Normally people are able to swim, but they've just never done it competitively. They've never done it in a race scenario where they may have gone out and run a road race or some sort of running race. Same with the bike scenario as well. They may have done a sportive or something. But swimming is very different, and it's something that people aren't used to, especially competitively with people around them swimming, all going in the right direction, all vying for the same space. So the first thing to note is it's important to know what your starting point is. And believe it or not, there's plenty of people that come into the sport who are very weak swimmers or have to learn from scratch, and that's okay, but you just need to factor that into your training. You need to factor that into your time scale, and you probably need to seek some professional help as well, rather than just jumping straight in a pool and trying to learn it yourself. If that is you, like I said, seek out some professional help and go from there. For the majority of people who learned at a younger age, you may not have been in a pool for a while, and again, that's okay. Just familiarise yourself being back in the pool, being back, maybe possibly doing some open water swimming, and that might be alien to you, and we'll come on to that in a moment. So take the first few weeks and just get used to it, find out where you are, and maybe do that before you sign up for a race, just to find it, or find for yourself, is this what you want to do? The equipment needed for a swim is relatively straightforward. You will need goggles, you will need some sort of swimming clothing. So it will depend on what type of race you're doing, but the goggles are relatively standard. Generally then you would have a swim hat on, that's given by the race organisers. You may wear a GPS watch, again that comes down to preference. And then the big thing is what you wear physically on your body. So there's a number of different options, and this will depend on you and the type of race. So first of all, you can wear swimming shorts, you could wear tri shorts, you could wear a tri suit, or if you're a female, you could wear an all-in-one bathing outfit. That will probably depend on if it's a pool swim and what part of the world you're swimming in, if it's outdoors, because if the temperature goes above a certain temperature in open water swimming, you won't be allowed to wear a wetsuit. Wetsuit is an important thing to note, because majority of triathlons do tend to be outdoors. It's not to say that they all are, but it's easier to manage a larger number of people in a larger space rather than a pool where you normally have to go out in waves. So with open water swimming, that could be in a river, that could be in a lake, and that could be in a sea. And each one of them will present a different challenge or a different experience to the others. A pool scenario is very, it's a very sterile environment in the sense of there's not much happening with tides and currents. The only thing you really need to be mindful of are the people around you, and to make sure you're going in the right direction. River swims, you will have to deal with the current of the flow of a river, and you might be swimming against it, you might be swimming with it, or potentially across it. And these are all things, again, you just need to be mindful of. And just get used to doing that sort of type of swimming and the skills associated with it. And the biggest thing that you need to do with river swimming, lake swimming and sea swimming, all outdoor swimming, is sighting. Because you need to know where you are. In a pool scenario, you've got lines on the bottom which will guide you. In outdoor water swimming, you don't have that. So learn how to sight, and this is relatively straightforward, but I would get some advice on that. So you will need a wetsuit if it's outdoors and it's below a certain temperature. The wetsuit will give you buoyancy. What we would suggest is go to a local retailer, try on a couple of wetsuits and see what you want, see what works for you. You'll get advice on the type of fit. Generally a wetsuit for swimming will be a lot snugger than a wetsuit for something like surfing. So don't necessarily just go off experiences if you've done surfing before. Get some professional help and take it from there. We've mentioned race type already. You know, it could be in a pool, it could be in a lake, it could be in a river, it could be in the sea. But where you train is important as well, because what you don't want to do is sign up for a sea swim and then do all your training in a swimming pool only to become unstuck during race day. So there's nothing wrong with doing the majority of your swimming in a pool if this is the scenario, but familiarise yourself with some open water swimming. You just need to get used to, one, wearing your wetsuit if it's a wetsuit race, and two, again, going back to currents and river flow and water flow and things like that, just get used to it. It would be good if you could do a recce of a course beforehand. That is not always feasible, so try and get to familiarise yourself with similar settings. Not always easy, I know, but it's putting yourself in the best possible position going forward. With regards to training plans, there are a number of different options. You could go out and seek a professional coach. So you could get a triathlon coach who is able to give you swimming specific activities and workouts and lead up to bigger goals of getting up to a certain swimming distance by a certain time. Or a swim coach could do that as well. It all depends on how much money you want to spend and, you know, sort of how much input you want from other people. Because in theory you could have a separate swim coach, bike coach and run coach, but whether they all complement each other at the same time would be, you know, it's difficult to say. Or you could just get a triathlon specific coach who could look at everything. It could be the case that you have a specific weakness, and in this case we're talking about swimming, so you might go out and get a specific swim coach or maybe a swim analysis to try and work on some things which you can improve on, which will help you glide through the water better. The final point for me is, if you're not in a position to spend a lot of money on coaching and training plans and swim analysis and all of that malarkey, just go out and see if there's local clubs to you. Again, that could be a triathlon specific club, or it could just be a swim club. It could be a masters club or something along those lines, just to get you confident swimming with other people and just to ask people their advice. You know, if you want to get up to a certain distance by a certain time and look at technique at the same time, it's a lot of things to juggle. Some people who have swum for years and years might just be able to give you some tips to work on. So there you go, that's the swim element of a triathlon. If you want to know more, check out our other videos. Hit us up on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Don't be afraid to ask us questions, and if there's a specific topic you want discussed in the future, just let us know. Thanks all.